The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer for the year with a score of 272, Ian Baker Finch.
In the world of golf, this is the Open Championship. We from America, the United States, we have our Open Championship, and every person that lives in the United States considers that the Open. But we in golf know that the Open is this one.
It's muggy and overcast, and I'd say about 5 knots.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mayor working to the Honourable Company of Edinburgh Golfers, Muirfield, for the first day's play, the 121st Open Championship. This is game number 1. On the tee, fall away.
Hi Dave, got pull away first tee this morning. You've got it in colour or black and white?
The Open Championship is now a massive entity, a happening each July that takes months to create and is the result of much careful planning. As many as 40,000 people a day may come and watch. And around the world, many millions pause this week and take note of the goings-on in what is, after all, the game's premier event. All very different to when Harold Hilton won the first of Muirfield's Opens just 100 years ago. What would he make of the Open today, and indeed the assembled cast? The main hope of the home crowd is Nick Faldo, he of the steely determination, but also of the all-round game to handle the questions posed by Linksland golf at the very highest level. Fred Couples, in so many ways the opposite of Faldo. He's finished well up in recent Opens, and with his Masters victory in April, has proved that he too can win. Then there's Seve. He's getting on for 20 years since he first burst on the scene, and maybe the well's running a little bit dry, but you can never get it right. Muirfield is, for many, the fairest, and some would even say the best, of all the championship venues. With each hole running in a different direction, the golfer is constantly faced with an ever-changing variety of shot. Wide fairways and big greens may seem generous targets, but danger lurks on every hole, especially for those whose approach to golf is all-out attack.
Oh well, life goes on, right?
Whether it be the elegant and almost old-fashioned power of a Greg Norman, or the brash, high-tech slamming of a John Daly.
That's all I got, baby.
See that, mate? Daly didn't like the ball as far as Wood on the first hole, and he took Wood. Yeah.
Mark Calcavecchia, himself once crash-bang wallop specialist of golf, learnt to harness his power to the point where he could win this championship. But clearly he thinks that Daly's driver might be better off in other hands.
I'm going to try to get another one. You need that one?
Get another one here. You don't need this one. That's pure.
But whatever else, they're not ignoring the strong man of golf. Calcavecchia was one of those out early, and 2 good shots to the opening hole left him with this little putt for the first birdie of the championship.
I can see that it's now showing me that the call has been accepted. I'm going to put the phone down. I'm going to hear you through the headphones, okay?
All the Australians, except Peter Senior, are at level par. He's one over. And Faldo bogeyed the first.
Defending champion Ian Baker Finch has clearly enjoyed his year in the spotlight.
That's a good place.
While after many years of waiting, the new US Open champion, Tom Kite, is just setting out to enjoy his.
I need more difficult days. I need to stress the field out a little bit. That's the thing.
There really is very little of the countryside round here that isn't in some way connected with the game of golf. But Muirfield is the jewel in this part of Scotland's golfing crown, with its 200 or so devilish works of art that are its first line of defence. It will be skill out of sand as much as a deft putting touch that may well decide this championship. And it might also have been one of the reasons why Gary Player's first win in the Open was here in 1959. He may even yet harbour dreams of becoming the oldest champion.
Hello, chap. We've got the head man this time. I was asking Scott if you could try to dig out something I've done on Trevino. I just wondered if you had any joy with it.
Up over the face and stop it fairly quickly. Very difficult one. Looks like going over the back. And instead of that, it goes straight into the middle of the hole and disappears like a rabbit on the second bounce.
Trevino too is back, revisiting scenes of former glories. As is Nicholas, who, like Player, won his first Open here, and then went on to collect a couple more across the waters in the Kingdom of Fife. Muirfield, though, is his favourite, and 1992 marks 30 consecutive appearances in the Open Championship. None will ever challenge Nicholas's haul of major titles, but of all the players in the field today, Faldo most closely reminds one of his single-minded pursuit of the major championships. A drop shot at the first only acted as a spur, and he duly went to the turn in 33, 3 under par. More birdies coming home, and then this great approach to the 14th. It seemed that the championship lead was his for the taking, but that miss was the end of his run, as pars from then on in for a round of 66. Paul Azinger was the man who perhaps should have won here in 1987. Once again, he played well, but this time faded somewhat over the final 2 rounds. And on this opening day, it was one of Azinger's Ryder Cup colleagues, Steve Pate, who, in his own peculiar way, organised himself around Muirfield in a meagre 64 to take the early lead. Others would have given much for that score, but came undone in a number of different ways. But one of the great charms of Muirfield is that while it can extract dire penalties, it can also hand out the occasional present. You made it. And not only on the greens. Well, when you've been with Seve for a year or two, there's not a lot you haven't seen. But for Paul McGinley, it will be a memory to treasure. Kevin Jones was one of those romantic stories that pop up so often during the early rounds of Open Championships. So too was the performance of Darren Lee, an amateur from Wanstead in Essex. Not yet capped for England, he went round in 68. But it was his battle with ME that caught the media's imagination.
I'm actually having injections once a month. It's like other people's immunity, and it helps just to build me up. It's okay, it's much better. I think I've actually got used to having glands and sore throat all the time. You know, I've actually got used to that. Every now and again I get it back. Yesterday I wasn't too good again. I had a lot of glands and sore throat and felt genuinely achy. I had a good night's sleep last night and felt good today.
Another Lee, Lee Johnson from Austin, Minnesota. He was one of a number of relatively unknown Americans to outshine the more established stars. Perhaps not quite so surprising was the 66 of Ernie Els. This giant young South African had carried all before him on his own circuit during our winter months, and this week was to reproduce much of that form. But it was another unknown American who was to have the media barons reaching for their tour handbooks as he headed for a first round of 66.
Carl Johnson didn't know whether it was the same John Cook. Remember, there's a John Cook from the UK. Scores for John Cook. In 1980, he missed the third cut. He missed after 54 holes, so he's played 3 rounds.
Another American, Andy McGee, shot a 67. Neither he nor Cook. She attracted enormous media attention.
You know, the expense for me to come over, always from the West Coast, was a lot, and at the time I wasn't really made of money, and I really didn't have the confidence in my game to where I could come over and spend a couple days and try to qualify. I have no problem with that. I never felt that great about doing it.
No, the press were more interested in the deeds of the great names. And following hot on the heels of Faldo 66 came Ian Woosnam with a round of 65. Many believe he's now ready to add the Open to his Masters winner list. Along with Faldo is the main hope of the home supporters. But it's little slip-ups, like his drop shot at the last, that undo so much good work. But for that, he would have had a share of the Open.
There's not much inspires me, no. I'm not getting inspirational from looking at the sea or anything, no. It doesn't inspire me.
Well, with a round of 65, Gordon Brand Jr. must have been getting inspiration from somewhere, even if it wasn't from the press themselves.
Nor your articles.
It was this man, who only needs the Open to give himself a full set of majors, who came in late to grab a share of the lead. Raymond Floyd.
And I hit a 5-iron about 12 feet past and made the putt for birdie. And made the putt for birdie. And made that for par. I did a 2-iron second that plugged in the wall of the bunker. Very, very bad lie. Very difficult shot. And I played a marvelous explosion to get it about 10 feet.
Well, you can never get away from politics, but you don't have to take them seriously all of the time. Someone might have told Mr. Perot that during the 3rd week in July, some people have other matters on their mind. And for them, the Open is just as important as anything else that's happening in the world. Well, some Americans did manage to have a nice day. And in all, 35 players broke 70. But one of them wasn't the current Masters champion and world #1, Fred Couple. How he would love to find the putting club that brought him within striking distance of victory at Birkdale last year. But it was not to be, and an awful 78 on day 2, finishing with an ugly 7, led to the embarrassment of missing the cut. After an opening 74, John Daly was in need of inspiration if he were to survive for the final 2 days. Some came and went. Others rode their luck to make the halfway cut. Muirfield 92 was just a 2-round affair. Just about then, Faldo was on the point of making his move. This, his second to the par 5 9.
I think I had 2 28s at front, plus whatever, another 15, 12, whatever, 13, 15. And I tried it a low drawing thing and just came out like a rocket.
So this putt for an eagle 3 and a share of the lead. That was to the start of a perfect an eagle and 4 birdies in the space of 7 holes. There, a little Latin wizardry was helping a Lassabal to a second round 67 and a halfway total of 5. Said he still showed odd flashes of the old magic. It wasn't enough, and he was to miss the cut.
That's I work for All Sports with David Cannon. He took those. Is there any chance I can get my instance? copy of this?
Yeah, sure. I'll tell Dave. And
All
he'll
right.
give it to- Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you very much.
Nothing went right for Montgomery either, and he too had the weekend off. But the Faldo machine rolled on. 3 at 10, 3 at 12, 3 at 14, and again at 15. And other homegrown players were bringing cheer to what was to be the largest crowd of the week. Malcolm Mackenzie, his tee shot to the short 13. The basis of a fine round of 67 was his output 32, and on his way to a 36-hole total of 4 under. Faldo for yet another birdie, and the first hint of daylight between himself and the rest of the field. In Woosnam, too many errors all added up to a round of 73.
Well, it's more, bit of a flight
And
on it,
Floyd could find nothing on a breezy second morning and returned a level par 71. But Ernie Els, who many might have thought would fade in such exalted company, added a 69 to his opening 66.
The putting has got a new stroke this week, so it's obviously been working well.
The amateur Darren Lee, with Dad caddying and Mum in the crowd, put together a fine 72 to become the sole survivor from the unpaid ranks, what with amateur champion Gary Wolstenholme failing to survive. 5 open titles to his credit, and one of them here at Muirfield. Tom Watson couldn't make it to the last 2 days either. But no such problem for Faldo. Donny Hammond, another American, was also going well. And a good round became great with this second shot to the par 5 17th. Nearly that rarest of all birds, an albacore, and there have only been 2 in Muirfield's open history. Steve Pate continued to prove you don't need the greatest swing to score well, and added a rather erratic 70 to his opening 64. And Gordon Brand Jr., still feeling very much at home with his birthplace just across the water, put together another round in the 60s to be 9 under. But it wasn't making any impression on Faldo. Well, by now, they all knew which John Cook this was, and he too was to finish 9 under for 36 holes. But the day belonged to Faldo.
I enjoyed today because, you know, every shot I was setting myself a target, you know, what I was trying to do, how I wanted to hit the ball, and you know, down at every hole I did it. Yeah, it didn't matter what club I had in my hand, I felt good with it, so it was a lovely feeling. I felt really so good inside, you know, I thought, well, if you're feeling this good, let's just keep rolling on and see what happens. So I've learnt that, okay, I've got to stop being hard on myself and accept you're going to hit some bad shots. You know, I've learnt, you know, good lesson.
And it all added up to a 64 to go with his opening 66, a 36-hole record for the championship, and a lead of 3. So the halfway stage, and some big names are not going to be around for the weekend. Fred Couples has gone, so too Seve, Strange, Watson, and Scotland's Colin Montgomery. But perhaps the biggest name is that of Jack Nicholls, here chatting with RNA captain Joe Carr. For the Mises too, it's time to move on.
Have a nice journey.
East Fortune, Cannington, and the Flight Museum. Yeah. And that'll take us day 1.
Yeah. Are you driving?
Yeah. Better get on this side. Flight Museum. Flight Museum.
Flight Museum.
That'll take us. Pardon me? Do I want a map? I think we have a map. We had a map. Well, what happened to it?
Possibly part of the explanation for Nicklaus's untimely departure was the absence of his longtime caddy, Jim Dickinson. The replacement, Mike Wareham, sensed a little rustiness in the great man's game.
Jack was feeling okay, he just wasn't putting well. You know, I feel that he's not playing enough competitive golf. That's all it amounts to. It's every caddy's ultimate, I would guess. To me, he's the greatest player that's ever held a golf club.
Jimmy himself was unfortunately sidelined with a dodgy knee.
Well, I'm 68-year-old now. It's getting a bit, especially the bags Jack brings over.
Day 3, and the members of the Honourable Company are looking for a decent breeze to sharpen up their private jobs. Nick Faldo, they've all got a catch if they want to win this championship. And lastly, John Daly, still a pleasure to the crowd, but his round of 80, one of the worst of the day. A score that would surely only appear in Faldo's darkest nightmare, when at rest in the elegant Grey Walls Hotel. A bright and breezy morning greeted the early starters on day 3, and a pair of Irishmen came across birds rather larger than these in the course of their rounds. This one was Ronan Rafferty, here at the par 4 8th. A brace of eagles for a Saturday morning. Ian Woosnam was having his own roller coaster ride. For 1 putt 4, saved par at the opening hole. A birdie at the second was followed by this great tee shot to the short 4. And that was to take him to 2 under. But 5 shots were to go in 3 holes from the 6th. And only 4 birdies in the last 10 holes kept his score respectable. Now see if you can see anything amiss here.
Ball just moved.
I don't think so. I just did.
I looked down, it looked like it was in a different spot. Yeah, I actually never saw the ball move. I was looking up at the green and I looked back down and it seemed to be in a different spot. And one of the spectators said yes, it did move. And we're, you know, when I was looking up when the ball actually moved, I know my club was off the ground.
In what was otherwise a remarkably trouble-free championship for the Rules Committee, Pate's dilemma over whether his ball had moved at the 5th, after he'd addressed it, was decided in his favour. But it was all part of a day that was anything but trouble-free for Pate. He duly birdied this hole, 1 of 4 in a row from the 3rd, but then dropped shots at both 7 and 9. 2 more birdies came early coming home. 1 here at 11, and another at the 12th. But 3 more shots were to go in the last 5 holes, and in the end, it all added up to a 69. It might have been a 65, it could have been a 75. 7 birdies, 5 bogeys, and just 6 pars. Not exactly a model of consistency. John Cook, playing in the last match with Faldo, this is 3rd to the 9th. Timely eagle indeed, and an outward 9 of 35. Prior to that, he was beginning to lose touch. But playing with Faldo, all that homegrown support was never going to be a picnic. As for Faldo, the mixture was very much as before. 3 steady pars, then this glorious tee shot to the 4th. First birdie of the day. Lasabal at 17, just level for the day after a somewhat scrappy outward 9. But what a moment to pick up 2 shots, and certainly he seems a little more relaxed than for some time. Maybe the benefit of his 3-week break just prior to the championship. Turn, Faldo came home steadily to finish in 69, his 3rd sub-70 round of the championship. Chip Beck, along with Dale Irwin, turned in a 67, the best round of the day. John Cook hung on for a very respectable round of 70, with par-saving putts like this. Rather grudging applause for what, after all, was quite a fine shot. And a Lassabal at the last. Great shot to save his par, and a round of 69. After all, in the absence of setting, it's his job to keep the Spanish flag flying. And perhaps with his great hero no longer around, he could just be finding things a little less inhibiting this week. The old Claret Jug, and what battles have been waged for its possession down the years. The names, the dates, the venues bring back so many memories. Jacqueline there at Lytham in 1969, and Trevino at Muirfield in 1972.
Trevino chips it nonchalantly down there. Now, nobody believes their eyes, but confound it, that's the 4th time in this championship, and Trevino chips it in from off the green. Really diabolical. And there it is. And it's 6 for Jacqueline, and a moment that he will remember and go over and over again all his life. Nearly on in 2, down in 6. Trevino off in 4, down in 5.
And possibly the greatest contest of them all, Turnberry in 1977.
Has he got the right club? Oh, has he got the right club? My word, it's only 18, 20 inches from the hole. What a tremendous battle this young man's had with Jack Nicklaus. Smashes it with every sinew in his body. The crowd gallop across. Jack can't see where it's going to finish. Going towards the front right-hand corner of the green. And in fact, it's on the putting surface. And that, I think, is one of the most powerful, animalistic golf shots I've ever seen.
And the cream from recent years, Nick Price unable to stem the Ballesteros tide of Lytham in 1988.
Price first. He's 3 under for today. Good going indeed. Now look at this. Well, what can you say? That's no more than 2 or 3 inches from the hole. Flipped up. He's got the pace. Oh, he's got the pace magnificently.
And someone is going to have to do something similar if they want to win today. But remember, when Sev is in contention, he's always in blue and white. And maybe it's no coincidence that Lassabal has chosen those colours for his final round. But 7 shots back, it's asking a tremendous amount. Where is everybody? For some reason, this morning the Sunday service took place at 9:45. I wonder why. And certainly the hymn numbers give no clue as to the likely winning score. Particularly when you look at the best of the winning totals from Muirfield's illustrious past. For Darren Lee, the last 2 rounds are there to be enjoyed. The amateur medal is his, with mum and girlfriend Christine there to see him do it. Other ladies know what it's all about and savour the calm before the storm. For those off late, it's how to pass the hours before the starting gun goes off. For most, it's a question of just keeping on the move, to stop the system seizing up, and finding a rhythm to carry you through the day.
Thanks very much. That looks great, doesn't it? Let it dry, let it dry.
For Faldo, though, it's just a case of finding some quiet corner of a foreign field. 2 years ago, he also took a handsome lead into the final day. Maybe this time he can become the first player to break 70 in all 4 rounds of the Open. But now, it's time to get on with the job.
On tee, Nick Faldo.
I want to make sure that I protect myself. There may be somewhere out there where a decision's got to be made or something. I think you may have to use your cushion.
On tee, Steve Page.
He's not going to be easy to catch. He's obviously, you'd have to. If I was going to go make a bet, I think I'd go bet on him right about now. But it's certainly by no means out of the question that he can be caught.
The drop shot at the opening hole was all the encouragement they needed. Alasabal was the first to strike. A birdie at the second. And with the first of several squalls to come through during the afternoon, John Cook gets his first blow in with this putt for a birdie at the third. And here for another at the fifth. This time, it's for an eagle. And so that cushion that Faldo was talking about before the first tee is down to a miserly 1 shot. Here's Pate with his second to the 6th. Level for the day, but he's only had 1 par in the first 5 holes. Alasabal is third to the 9th. But at this point, he's 1 over for the day. The birdie here gets him out in 36. Back to the 6th. This is Pate for his 3rd birdie of the day. In she goes, and that's 11 under, 2 behind Faldo. The short 7th, and Faldo still seeking his first birdie of the day. Just 1 ahead of Cook and 2 in front of Pate. All thought of that final round lap of honour very much on hold. John Cook at the 9th. 2 adrift of Faldo now, having dropped a shot at the 7th. But here, disaster strikes. He's out of bounds. Pate at the 7th. Wade into the bunker on the right, and his topsy-turvy round continues.
Yeah, stronger than any other day.
So suddenly, the heat is off for Faldo. Both his closest rivals are in trouble, though of course he doesn't know what's happened to Cook at the 9th. This time, it's a 3-iron back into the wind at this 185-yard par 3. And a marvellous shot, considering all the pressure of trying to win this championship from the front. John Cook, this his 4th shot to the 9th. Pate at the 7th. The rescue work continues. 2 holes ahead, Cook was in the midst of his own personal crisis, and his championship chances diminishing by the minute. Now Faldo for a priceless 2 at the 7th. Well, they were all going in on the first 2 days, but now it's all very hard graft. Cook's 5th to the 9th. That one's not that much good either. Pate escapes again. It's his 5th 1-putt in a row. Cook to drop just 1 shot at the 9th. but not quite, and it all adds up to a 7. He's out in 37, and now 4 shots adrift of Faldo. Olasabal, his second to the 11th. He may still be 6 behind Faldo, but with the 2 Americans struggling, he could soon be challenging for second place.
Nice weather.
John Cook in trouble again at the 10th. In the rough off the tee and still well short in 2. Not bad, but he needs to hold that if he's not going to drop yet another shot. Olasabal, this for a 3 at the 11th then. And that's his second birdie in 3 holes, and now he's after Faldo. Faldo's pitched to the 9th, but still with work to do if he's going to find his first birdie of the day. Oh, a good 4 for Cook under the circumstances at the 10th. Olasabal, second to the 12th. Into the breeze. Oh, what a fantastic shot. Surely another birdie coming up. Faldo for a birdie then at the 9th. No, so just that drop shot at the first means it's 37 shots to the turn. But Pate has also been in trouble at the 9th. Yet another 1-putt green, but this time for a 6, and now he's 3 shots adrift of Faldo. Took a long time, but Olasabal gets his 3, and now he's within 4 shots of Faldo. But Pate is in second place, 3 shots behind. Cook at the 12th. In she goes, and the memories of that 7 at the 9th beginning to fade. Faldo at the 11th, having missed the green with a wedge, and not the greatest bunker shot either. Woosnam at 16, he's out in 38, and he's not got any sort of a challenge going, and still 2 over with 3 to play. Chance here to get him back. Faldo then to save par at 11. Not to be, and more encouragement for those in pursuit. So now the lead is just 2, and thoughts beginning to appear of yet another title slipping away. John Cook, second to the par 4 15th. Oh, and yet another birdie chance. Faldo back into the breeze at 14. 3 putts at 13th has let Cook get within 1 shot. And now it's all very tight, and another one could go here. So Cook, birdie chance at 15. Yeah! He's got it, and now they're level. Olasabal, second to 17. That's a wonderful shot. He's still 9 under par and very much in with a chance of picking up a shot or 2 here. Faldo then to save his par at the 14th. No, it's away to the right, and that's 3 shots gone in the space of 4 holes. And for the first time since midday Friday, he no longer leads the championship. To miss one in the end, and that's another shot gone. So Cook now leads by 1 from Faldo and by 2 from Pate and Olasabal. Cook at 16. Hold another one, a birdie too. Lasabal, this for an eagle 3 at 17. Well, good weight, but not a 3, but still a chance of a birdie. Now Faldo at 15, his second shot, and really facing the biggest disaster of his golfing life. What about this for a response? A truly magnificent shot at any time, let alone on this occasion. Lasabal this then for a 4. He gets it, that's a birdie, and takes him to 10 under par with just 1 hole left to play in the championship. Pate at 15, and finally his round coming completely unstuck. The man with the championship very much in his grasp, John Cook, second to the 17th. Oh, and a marvellous shot it is too. 550 yards, a drive and an iron. Exactly right for distance, and that putt for an eagle 3. Another one goes by for Pate. That's a 6. 3 shots gone in 2 holes, and his championship definitely over for 1992. But a vital putt now for Faldo. And he gets it. A birdie 3 and moves within 1 shot of John Cook. Lasabal at the last. They like it up the far end, and they like it there as well. Superb drive.
You're the man!
16th. It's not the shout that puts him off. It's a bit of touch and through the back. Well, whatever Faldo does is not going to matter if this man holds this putt. So close, but still we're just over 2 feet for a birdie 4. Faldo from the back of the 16th. And where he was, that's a tremendous shot to get the distance right. Excellent shot.
Hit it, Wayne, a little more.
A pair of cracking shots from Lasabal for the last hole. Marvellous 3 for Faldo as well. The fairway once again, position A. He can get home in 2 from there. And up ahead on the green. Cook, though, to take a 2-shot lead once again. Well. And after 2 great shots, it's only a 5, and what an opportunity to let Faldo in the game. Well, it's a great try, and it's a fine final round for Lasabal. Only a 4 at the last, but it's a round of 68, 10 under par. It won't win this year, but once again, a great championship for the young Spaniard. Though delicately poised, Cook leads by 1, but Faldo still with the 17th to play. Pate first, is second to the 17th. Oh, and bearing in mind he was in the rough, that's a tremendous shot to reach this par 5 and 2. Cook at 18. Right down the middle. Position. Second to Faldo at 17. Ball at the right. Magnificent shot. Inch perfect distance. Cook second to the last. Missing the final green. Well, with the railings in his way, John Cook's entitled to a lead, either in the dropping zone or to a place not nearer the hole.
Okay.
Now, Pate missed his long putt for an eagle and has this for a birdie 4. But with his problems at 14 and 15, he's playing for the minor placings. Third to the last. That's not bad considering where it was and under the circumstances, but still 8 or 9 feet to go. And while Faldo prowls, there's this rough. No, slides away, and that's a 5-5 finish. And now the championship is once more within Faldo's grasp. The roars and the cheers and the commiserations of the 18th green. Faldo has this for an eagle 3. Well, not the greatest effort, but it's below the hole and absolutely stone dead. Now he's one ahead once again. And 25-30 minutes ago, who'd have believed he'd ever have a chance of leading this championship going to the last hole? 4 to win the Open. The result may be in doubt, but at least he can get on with the date and the venue. Faldo then, just 1 hole to play and the championship within his grasp. It is all about the honour of winning, but there are financial rewards as well. Substantial consolation prizes for all those who failed to take the title.
The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer for the year with a score of 272, Nick Faldo.
Nick Faldo now stands alongside Henry Cotton as the winner of 3 Open titles.
Striving for the best is what we should all be striving for in whatever walk of life we do. And, you know, I'm committing myself and my life to that.
You know, always miss coming to the British Open. You know, I watched it on TV from, you know, the minute it comes on Thursday morning to the time it goes off. I just always said, you know, I got to get back there. And, you know, Mark O'Meara has always said, you got to come back. You got to come back. And
on behalf
you know, finally,
of the Championship Committee of the Royal Ancient Golf Club, to thank the members of the Honourable Company for hosting this, the 121st Open Championship.